Check, check. Welcome, folks, to a surprise viewing of Torment Tides of Numenara. This is an alpha right now. This is the very first glimpse of a game. And I am one of the alpha system testers. I think I'm allowed to post this on YouTube because I'm not making any money or posting any ads with it. But if I'm not, just let me know and of course I'll take it down.
Your mind wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you. Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important. As if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them. You force your eyes open. The body is... wait, you are wearing a form-fitting suit of some dark material. You recall that you were wearing something much more elaborate a short time ago. You have smooth, light brown skin, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot. Good muscles, strong but not bulky, and slim hips. Your palms are soft, as if they have not done much labor, but scars and burns on the hands and wrists suggest that you haven't always been careful. Why can't you remember this? Without warning, the cocoon that surrounds you shreds and tears away. You are falling. The world is many kilometers below you. Put your hands to your sides, and you slice through the air. The wind tears at your face and scalp, and your skin burns like the tremendous speed. Your vision blurs, and you are unable to judge how far you've
fallen. Sound effects are crazy. Crazy loud.
reached the limit of the speed the air will grant you, and now that you enter the lower reaches of the atmosphere, you can feel it thickening around you, and miraculously you are slowing from the frenzied descent. Slow is a relative term. You knife through the air, piercing its veils, and you have no time for the poetry of falling. This realization drives itself home as you strike an unyielding surface. As your skin explodes and your organs liquefy on impact, a brief thought flashes through your mind. Your life was utterly and completely meaningless.
Okay. Your story ends here.
Your mind wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you.
And of course now it's glitched the fuck out. Let's look around.
Flesh and cocoon surrounds you. Even as you look, a minor rent in its side tears open, and the howling wind forces its way inside. The cocoon rips away, gone before you can grab it, spinning you into a dizzying tumble. You are falling, the world many kilometers beneath you. You catch a glimpse of a curved horizon, and also the ground beneath you that is approaching deceptively quickly. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in upon itself. A corona of acid green and black energy playing around its edges. The wind buffets you and burns your eyes, but you don't need to see the details of the faraway ground to know you're in serious trouble. You won't survive a fall from this stratospheric height. A part of your front of mind babbles that technically you probably fell from a thermospheric height. You struggle to stay focused as the ground rushes toward you. Instinctively, you spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe, dotted here and there with island chains. Small moons, unusual structures, and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground. Now you see that this appears to be a huge megacontinent, the only land of any size on this side of the world at least. Great inland seas and lakes dot the land, and curiously, regular mountain ranges march up and down and across. You are falling toward what looks to be a great bay, a sprawling city perched on its shore just to the north. Further to the north and east, you see a broad plain scattered with curious structures visible even from this height. The northeastern portion of this land looks to be a desert, a strange blue dot like an eye in its exact center. It seems to hold a city in its watery grasp. To its west is a ring of huge mountains, surmounted by enormous carved peaks spewing magma into a central catch basin. What concerns you most right now is the bay below you. It's coming at you quickly. It's fruitless. You've reached a velocity that could, without irony, best be named terminal. You spread your arms and legs and try to catch a draft, and it looks like you'll hit the bay that's rushing toward you, unless you hit the building in its littered waters. A strange web of color surrounds you, thrown by a figure standing on the balcony of the structure, but it is effective only at slowing your fall. You strike the building hard enough to crack its crystalline structure, and you hear one of the engines that supports it protest and howl, and the agony of the crash overcomes you, and then darkness.
Now we're talking. You fell. You remember falling toward the curve of the world. The ground leapt up to claim you. Impact. You should be dead. If so, this is a strange death. There's no peace here, and your mind aches, struggling to form simple thoughts. This doesn't seem like death, nor like any kind of life you recognize. Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light and needs to be filled, yet the bowl remains dry. Another drops from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. Failure. You seize the rim of the bowl, barely feeling the edges tearing at your flesh. With great effort, you haul it over the glowing pool of fallen light. Doesn't look like a failure to me. Blood trails from your fingers into the hungry depths of the bowl. Drop by drop, it fills, your blood mixing with light until the air itself takes on a strange reddish hue. Ripples spread over the blurred outline of your reflection. A sanguine radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you have begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello? Oh, Skist. You're dead, aren't you? No, that can't be right. If you were dead, I would be too. Can you hear me? Who are you? I can't hear anything. Are you even there? Well, if you can hear me, it means you're still alive, but you'd already know that, wouldn't you? Look, I'm just gonna assume we're both alive, and want to stay that way, alright? So here's what you have to do. I can't get to you, so you need to build a way up to me. I don't know how you're gonna do that. I mean, this is your mind. It's not like I have a map. Ah, this is your mind. I bet the memories are down there. Find them, and you'll repair the path up to where I am. Are you there? Ugh, I'm talking to myself here. I'm here. Did you say something? Was that even you? I can't tell. It doesn't matter. Just build a path up, and we can face this mess together, and you won't be alone. I won't be alone. The voice fades until it passes into inaudibility. Blank, oppressive silence falls, split only by the soft hum of the new pylon rising from the depths. The air thickens with each step you take towards the watery orb. The whispering voices flit across one of the countless aching gaps in your mind. This must be one of the memories you were told to find. Two figures swim down through the orb, as though it was a fathomless ocean. One vanishes into the ebony depths before you can study it. The other, a male, seems to be struggling, or perhaps drowning. You realize that, like the swimmer, you cannot breathe. Success. You plunge your hand into the orb and catch the tiny swimmer. Surprisingly strong muscles flex against your palm and the swimmer pulls you through the breach. As he does, you feel faster. Something about this place causes even the smallest choices to shape who you are. As you plunge into the water, a memory floods your mind. Permanently gain 2 speed pool. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment respite from this waterlogged hell. A bubble of stale air, your resting point. You breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves, but this body's an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as well as you know, but he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antenna. He believes it can get the 2 of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost faith in the invention, but this is hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. You mumble a few words, drawing power from the air around, until a solution appears in your mind. You snatch the device from his hands, rewire it, and shove it back at him. "Oh," he says, examining your work. "Sorry, I was trying to improve the thing." He waves the device at the door, and the stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond. A passage that links the water-bordered cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, and your hands are closing around a strange artifact that seems somehow familiar. It hovers above a pedestal, writhing, spinning as if alive. An electric current runs through your fingers, and your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal. An iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. You run urgent fingers over the device fastened to your waist, fog rising in your mind. Few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin to synth steel or the surrounding water to boiling wax. Hardly ideal. Finally, you find a small silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of the nearby alcove. The sphere whirls and unfolds into a spiraling vortex. The sphere is at the center, speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they too are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that more alarms are going off in the distance. The memory begins to fade as if you're being drawn backward to the tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. Countless scratches and wounds mar the surface of this door. Someone made great effort to get inside to no avail. No sign or symbol tells you what might be behind this enormous door. A dull chill radiates from its bronze segmented surface, and the thick metal wheel seems to be frozen in place. This orb, this memory, resembles an eye or masked face. It turns to face you with cold disdain. Mechanisms spin and mesh beneath the gleaming surface, and an ominous ticking begins, getting faster and faster. Two cold facts emerge from the mental gap this memory once occupied. The ticking does indeed mean the device will soon explode and you have no one to blame but yourself. This trap is yours, built to protect the memory within. Let's go for speed. Our speed seems to be good. Critical success! Carefully you reach the misty surface of the orb, around blurring sawtooth gears, and pluck out the heart of the device. Your body becomes more deft with the action. Suddenly our orb cracks at your touch, sending a memory jolting up through your arm into your mind. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad declivity. A flat-bottomed bowl riven by a wide chasm. Moss-covered arches provide natural ingress and egress for the light, and a broad golden disc gleams up from the floor of the valley. You are self-aware. Humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were, desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we found? We'll use our charm. A cloud passes over the sun as you engage her in spirited, friendly debate. After a few minutes, she laughs, raising her hands in mock surrender. Stop, stop! Your servitors are down there. You've already chosen this as a site, haven't you? She waits for your affirmation and says, all right, I'm convinced. The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend into the valley to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with inhumane speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. I think, your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. Seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Use the Numenara integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior. Let's look for a deeper solution. A fog oozes into the valley as you wrap a fiber shielding mesh around the construct's skull. The mesh powers up, protecting the construct's mind from any trans-dimensional emissions that might be in the area. Taking a deep breath, you repeat your command. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the site of your new shelter. The image freezes and fades as you feel the memory filling the gap of your mind, blocked by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head. The spectral voice didn't warn you that reclaiming your memories would hurt so much. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you're doing, and it's hunting you. Your fingers are twitching, your mind races. Each blink sends branching streams of white fire across the eyes of inside of your eyelids. You can't deny it, you feel stronger and sharper, more whole than you when you landed here. Captive light swirls mockingly beneath the thick surface of the orb before you, obscuring shadows, memories behind it. You'll need to claim them somehow if you're to be free of this place and find your companion. Let's use our intellect. Critical success. Your confidence grows. Speaking quietly, you call the slender shadow to the surface of the glass into the light. It is a young woman bound in chains of sorrow. She speaks quietly of a memory. You lean in closer and closer until her whispered words fill your mind. A vision of city springs up around you. Your city in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day. And still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe, the other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. Let's fight defensively. The memory seems crystal clear. The giant is a menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of his companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can carve matter into a molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. If you're to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She's stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he's out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on the reward. She's certainly not expecting you to dive between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive a dagger up under her chin. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin around. The weapon slashes into the giant and he topples, bisected. The immediate threat ended, you focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers behind. You press yourself against the gleaming door, easing it open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly, the sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the bloodstained hall. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you as the massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. Could this be freedom? The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocked symbols, daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more, but that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you discovered within the orbs and the choices you made, shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side, and though some of them are bright doppelgangers that know you, even a smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and a slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling towards the ceiling. Point at the clever one. The doppelganger makes his way over to you and is about to speak when a thuggish you charges out of the crowd and shakes its knife in your face. Speaking in your voice, the original doppelganger raises a calming hand, appealing to his hostile twin's better nature, with a combination of disarming wit and outright lies. Scowling, the thug lowers his knife and apologizes to you for the trouble. The doppelganger turns to you, waiting for your decision. This is who I am. Your decision rings out in the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the walls. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared worlds, like a bell if bells could rot. This places your mind is under attack. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Untroubled, your chosen identity steps out of the rippling glass and into you, filling you. The mirror fades, leaving a dark, open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. In the real game at this point, you'd have the opportunity to review and change your stat pool, allocations, and descriptor. Thus concludes the Alpha System Test. Thank you for playing. Please send us your thoughts and all that good stuff. Well, as expected, it's a Torment game with awesome Torment dialogue. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek preview. I'll probably have more to show when the beta comes out, if I'm allowed. And again, if this isn't supposed to be on the YouTubers' website, let me know, and I'll delete it. And I apologize. If not, hopefully this gets everyone warmed up and excited for Torment Tides of Numenara.